Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Soap Scoop, the Inside Soap podcast. Now, coming up in a bonus episode tomorrow night after EastEnders, we have an exclusive chat with Gemma Bissix, who is reprising her role as Claire Bates. But of course, you also know her as the brilliant Claire Devine from Hollyoaks. So we're going to be catching up with Gemma then. But today, we are obviously rounding up the usual spoilers, and we're going to kick off with Corrie because, of course, last night we saw that little bundle of joy popped on Swala's doorstep. As Johnny wrote in the magazine the other week, they were expecting a pint of milk and they got a baby. So we're going to just dissect that a little bit. We've got more to come on that this week. But Johnny, it was funny, wasn't it? Because we were saying that Sarah Platt was stirring the pot a bit by saying to Carla, oh, you should totally look after that baby to get revenge on Rob.
Yeah, what's it got to do with her? Butt out, Sarah. I think also there are better ways to get revenge on, your quite horrible brother who's in prison. Why doesn't Carla just go to visit him and go, ha ha, I'm not in prison, you are, ha ha. That's enough. There's a child here. This child didn't ask to be born. So yeah, Sarah's motivation, I would question, but she's got, I don't know, has she got a point? Do you think like a long game sibling rivalry kind of, I don't know, get one-upmanship with a baby in the mix?
I think it's a lot to take on just to get revenge on him. At this point, what is the point? He's in prison. He gave her the kidney. It's done.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it's a lot. But equally, a baby is plonked on your doorstep. As a human being, of course, you pick it up and take it into your house because you wouldn't do that.
And you take that pint of milk in as well, and that's not going to keep you up all night. Well, it might do if you're lactose intolerant. Scrub that anyway, yeah.
Well, we'll have to see how Swala get on with this, but I know it's there's been mixed reactions online we've been following. I think some of you were not sure about this in the beginning for Lisa and Carla, but then the minute you saw the pictures of the baby, you changed your minds, which is quite understandable. It's a very cute baby, don't you think?
Such a cute baby, and it's really nice. Carla with a little baby just is a funny image, because she's so high maintenance, high fashion, and yeah, she's been a stepmom and everything like that. But Carla changing a nappy, are we going to see this, do you think?
I would love to. I think this is a whole new dynamic to their relationship. I mean, scrap the nappies. Carla's got a knicker factory. She could bring something home really nice for that baby.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, that's going to be a very well-dressed child. And maybe Underworld's going to branch out into baby wear because it's a very lucrative market.
It is. It really is. Well, do you know what? That leads us on nicely to what we're going to talk about next, because there's been some rumours in the press, which we can't confirm or deny, but apparently, Ben, Rover's landlord, is going to turn out to be the long-lost brother of Steve McDonald, because Jim McDonald is Ben's father, Darth Vader-like. Unfortunately, Jim's not going to be around to do the I am your father routine with Ben. But yes, that's been in the press. And the reason why this brought us on nicely from Swala is because we were convinced that what Maggie saw in the sideboard in the Barlow house was somehow connected to Peter Barlow, but perhaps not. Maybe it was Jim McDonald.
What Maggie saw in the sideboard sounds like a play, an end of the pier restoration comedy or something that you'd go and see in the summer season. And a Pyrian, what Maggie saw in the sideboard, Sue Pollard. Yeah, so what Maggie saw in the sideboard, we were kind of a little bit obsessed, I want to say, here on Soap Scoop, that it was Peter Barlow. And that's who Maggie had this affair with that we know went on in her past. But yes, so Jim McDonald, so he is. Apparently, he's who she saw. Now, that's quite clever if it is true, because we kind of forgot that there probably was a picture of Jim McDonald in the Barlow house because Steve lives there and Jim is Amy's other granddad. And so they kind of played that quite well, Corrie. If this is true, it may be, it may not be. But does it explain why Steve is so drawn to Ben? It's new best friend energy, isn't it? He's really, poor Tim. We do feel sorry that Tim's been a bit left out in the cold. But it's not just that Steve's a bit fed up of Tim and his rubbish jokes and talking about biscuits the whole time. Genuinely, there's a connection there if Ben is his brother. But I feel like Jim, it's a shame Jim didn't get to meet him.
I know your feelings on that. I mean, going back to what you said about this connection between Steve and Ben, personally, I think Steve McDonald is drawn to anybody that serves him 2 pints of lager and a packet of crisps. So perhaps, that's it, just coincidental that they share the same DNA, because what are the chances?
Yeah, giving him Ridley's, then he's in.
But I also love the idea that Jim McDonald, as much as, that he should be a point of focus in the Barlow household for all his connections there, that his picture was just in the sideboard. It's like, no, he's weren't good enough to be out on display with Blanche and Deirdre and all the legends of that household. No, Jim, he was in the sideboard. And if it weren't for that, big fruit punch bowl at Halloween, she'd never have known. Like, the dots that have been joined to get to this, if it's true, is it's quite the storylining, and we applaud you, Corrie, for getting to this.
You had us,
point.
you had us kind of hoodwinked it was Peter Barlow, but yeah, you're right. I didn't think of that. Like, yeah, they had someone put him away. Do you think Tracy did it, or Ken? Is Ken like the jealous granddad? Like, I think you'll find I'm the patriarch of this clan. Yeah, somebody just like hid that picture. Like, we don't really talk about Jim.
I reckon there was a picture, and then Steve, after that awful debacle where Jim pretended that that woman was the daughter that Liz had thought had died and was paying her to pretend, that's when Steve just went, oh yeah, his picture, he's still me dad, but in the sideboard he goes.
I think in the sideboard is like room 101. Like, we could talk about on Soapscoop. Who's in the sideboard this week? Well, do you know what? That person's really got on my nerves. They're in the sideboard. Put him in the sideboard.
Put him in the bin, more like. I mean, I can't believe that. Put him in the bin. Can't believe that.
Bin. Why wasn't Maggie looking through the bins in the Barlow house? And that's how this connection came out. Maybe that's why they did this, because why would Maggie be looking in the bins? But then why would she be in the sideboard? The hoops storyliners have to go through to get these, like, sow the seeds of a plot that you won't realise what the actual plot is about for another 6 months. Hats off.
I'm glad, do you know what? I'm glad that they've done it, though. I know people will probably be scoffing and sort of turning their nose up and saying, oh, you've just made this up. But to be fair to Steve, there's not a lot going for him on the street at the moment. He's got his really good friends and we love his friendships, but him and Tracy have split up. Obviously, he's got the relationship with Cassie, but we know that she's leaving. Did we ever think that they were endgame? I'm not sure we did. He's still living in the Barlow house, even though him and Tracy have split up. So I think to give him a brother, that's going to give him...
You're right. He is a bit of a lone wolf, isn't he? Which is really weird because the McDonalds are like a massive heritage family. Steve is, he's part of the furniture. I don't know why him and Tracy just don't get back together. Like now, especially with Cassie going, and like you say, him and Cassie is just lust, isn't it? Like it's not endgame at all. They are quite funny, but I can't, other than, and once Cassie is gone and we know that's out there that she is, Claire Sweeney's leaving, I can't think of a good reason why Tracy and Steve aren't together unless Tommy O comes back, with a big bunch of flowers and all is forgiven. Like, and also I like Tracy and Steve. I like the idea of them almost being like a Sally and Tim, like a, like a Jack and Vera, like just like keep them together just for the bants and just for the fun. And they've got Amy and they're part of that dynasty. Yeah. But yes, it will give Steve, a little bit more of an anchor in the street. Not that he maybe needs one because he's not going anywhere, is he? But it'd be interesting to kind of foster that. And the Driscolls are really, Corrie really are doing a lot of work to have them be an integral part of the show, aren't they? Think of the links already to Eva, and through them they have links to Leanne and Toya, and now with This Is True to the McDonalds. Yeah, that's a mission statement, isn't it? They are here to stay.
I think you're right. I think they should just get Steve and Tracy back together, because you probably do get to an age in life where you're just like, oh, I don't really like you anymore, but companionship, let's just do it.
I'm not going on the apps. Imagine Tracy going on the apps. She would not be bothered one bit. So just put it back.
Steve's been on the apps, hasn't he? And he didn't have much luck when that happened. The only other thing I would settle for would be Steve and Leanne, because I have always really enjoyed that hook up, although perhaps that's where it should stay. But I can't. Leanne and Nick are never getting back together now, because that has just been completely ruined by Toya.
It has been ruined by Toya, who I love, but I'm very conflicted about all of that. And I do. But Steve and Leanne is funny. And I remember when, they've hooked up a couple of times, as we know. And I remember Toya asking Leanne one time after like this, 78th time or whatever that it happened. And Leanne said, oh, I don't know why. It just happened again. Like, just because Steve was there. And Toya said, so you're telling me you just hook up with Steve McDonald because he's quite local?
Yeah, geography.
Dick. yeah, not the basis for a relationship. Yeah, there's more to explore, isn't there? Because they've never been in a relationship. They had a child together and they've known each other for decades, kind of, and they've got a lot of links, but they've never dated. They've never been in a relationship. I do wonder what that would be like.
I do wonder though if it turns out that Steve and Ben are brothers, this may be a way perhaps to see Steve back behind the bar of the Rovers a little bit, because, you know, for many a years he was the landlord of the pub, and
Yeah.
I really liked, I mean, I love Simon Gregson in all the scenes because he's just so brilliant, isn't he? He's so funny. And I feel like we've been missing a lot of that outside of the relationships that he's got with Tim. So yeah, so maybe this might be, they're obviously getting on well, and I reckon that'll add a really nice dynamic if we can get Steve back in the pub for sure.
Here.
Well, we mentioned Leanne, and she has got quite a big moment in the storylines coming up where it looks like she's going to be the one to begin rumbling predator Megan. She catches Megan out in a lie coming up on screen. And when I read that, Johnny, my instinct was, well, if there's one person that I would love to see haul Megan over the coals, it is Leanne Battersby.
Full Battersby. And can we say capital B, Battersby? Because Leanne, we know deep down, she is not to be messed with. You know, she's a right scrapper. And anyone crosses her or her family or her nearest and dearest, she's going to go for them. And we don't see it that often these days because Leanne, you know, she's all grown up and, you know, she runs businesses and, you know, kind of to the outside world, she presents as just that nice Leanne who lives down the road. No, Leanne is terrifying when she wants to be. I really want to see this. And I really want to see her and Toya team up because, as you say, there's looking ahead to the next week. Leanne gets wind that Megan is cheating on Daniel. She doesn't know who with necessarily, but she thinks she has got something to hide. So yes, unravel, unpick. It's all going to come out at some point about Megan and Will. She's also dragging Sam, poor innocent, lovely, distressed Sam, into her web of lies, who is Leanne's stepchild. And she's kind of related to Will in a way, isn't she, Leanne, through Eva being his kind of stepmom to be. So cast your minds back a few years ago when one of the last times we saw the full Battersby, Leanne and Toya teamed up because Peter was being blackmailed by somebody. And I just remember Leanne and Toya being like Scott and Bailey or Cagney and Lacey or like a couple of bouncers. And they went round and they threatened this woman. I'm not condoning violence because we don't on Soap Scoop. But it was great. They were like a double act of just trying to get stuff done, send them in. And she was really scared, this woman. I'm living for Leanne wiping the floor with Megan.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in the flash forward, of course, Megan has got a bloody nose because someone has indeed battered her. So maybe
she's also got, that's why she's got the bloody nose. Can we just point that out?
Yeah, so maybe Leanne is part of that. But I think what we as viewers love, especially when you've got a villain in the mix, we do love it when one of our regular characters becomes the hero of the hour and susses it out. And that's why I'm all, it's like when Celia and Ray were obviously at their peak in Emmerdale and Moira finally got wind and smacked Celia in the pub sort of thing, and we all cheered because we were just like, yeah, she's this really awful villain and someone's finally had a go at her. So I wonder if that will be a similar thing with Leanne, but of course it's going to be quite tricky. There's a couple of months to go still. I mean, we're pretty much a couple of months away from that flash forward episode. Any more theories at this point from you?
Well, Jodie's just getting weirder, isn't she? I feel like Jodie is the wild card because in a way she's the least known quantity of those that line up of 5. But I can't decide whether they're just really pushing it so Jodie is going to be the person murdered because she's going to annoy so many people and disrupt so many lives.
What you say about Jodie actually reminded me of a plot that we feature in the magazine that's come out today, where Jodie and David are tying bags of dog poo to Adam Barlow's car. It all starts because David the dog cocks his leg up against Adam's car, and then Adam's having a go at them for clearing up your dog mess, which you should absolutely do. He's got a point, and Jodie doesn't take him seriously. And then she and David get revenge by tying this bag of dog mess to the window screen. I'm sorry, how disgusting. I can't.
That is absolutely foul.
There's pictures in the magazine of her and David having a right old laugh doing it. And, you know, I'm a big supporter of Adam Barlow, so I'll always fight his corner for genuine reasons this time. I'd be absolutely furious if I found that on my car. It's disgusting.
When you said there are pictures in the magazine of, I actually kind of held my breath a bit because I wondered if if we were going to say, yes, Inside Soap is publishing pictures just of dog poo. Hopefully we're not. But yeah, this is a bit grim. But also, do you think David's secretly jealous of how handsome Adam Barlow is, and he just wants to teach him a lesson?
I mean, yeah, everybody should be jealous of the wondrous, majestic Adam Barlow.
You know what? Your Inside Soap's very own Mary Taylor. What about when she cozied up to him the other day? That's what you'd be like if you were in his presence.
Yeah, there's a restraining order on me currently. I'm not allowed within 5 meters of the Corrie gates, and when I go up to do interviews, they make sure he's not in that day.
If you've got like a cushion, like he's got the Ben Shepherd cushion and the Steve McDonald face cushion, admit it, LJ, admit it. It's a safe space.
I'm saying nothing else. You will not hear me testify in court or indeed on the podcast. But no, they do. There is a picture of a bag that they are tying to the. So how the prop? Oh, I just don't even want to go into it. How the props department have achieved this? Like,
I don't want to talk about dog poo, please. Like, it's in the magazine because it's a storyline. But we apologise to anyone offended by canine excrement. I mean, it's a soap first.
But David the dog, he started it because
literally,
like,
and finished it.
Is he the new protagonist in the? Maybe he's a suspect. Maybe he kills Jodie.
He kills Jodie with a really, really horrible smelling poo on April the 23rd, and that's what happens. Maybe this is it. Maybe there's a flash forward of like which dog was responsible for the poo. Where's this going to end? I just stop saying poo. I want to move on.
I think it should end because you're really good at doing impressions of dogs. It's something that Johnny's honed recently. Could you do like an impression of David the dog being like, "I didn't do it"?
Oh, just for me. Like that, don't it? It talks a bit like that. It weren't me. Oh, I ain't that Adam Barlow. I'm just gonna curl one out. I don't know.
I think that that it wasn't. You weren't as dog like in that impression. Like you need to have the
more gruff.
Yeah,
I'm gonna work on it. I'm gonna workshop it. But I do think he's got more of a squeaky voice. I think Celia's dog was much more terrifying. Maybe it's Celia's dog because we all are obsessed with where he is.
I mean,
Lord, I've come to cause some trouble and do a poo.
Right, sorry, listeners, we've had far too much fun with this storyline. So we will move on to Emmerdale, and this is actually something that I've been desperate to talk about. So in the storyline that we're covering in this week's magazine, Graham has the absolute nerve to approach Rona and say, well, come on, let's get back together, and thinks that it might be a possibility. And she's actually thinking of it like, what is he thinking?
What is he thinking is, I think that he sees Rona is probably a bit vulnerable. Basically, Rona just needs like a spa day or like a weekend away to the seaside. Rona's had, a really horrible time of it. And is she tempted by Graham? No, I think she's tempted by... It's like if Mr. Blobby said, do you want to come away for a weekend? She'd probably go, do you know what? Sounds like a lovely idea. Get away from this, misery fest. She just needs a bit of a change of scenery. And Graham just happens to be maybe in the right place at the right time. I never bought Graham and Rona really as a couple, to be honest, all those years ago. I think she was just a bit lonely at that time. And I just thought Graham was scoring points against Kim. Like, I just didn't really believe it. The only person Graham loves, apart from himself, is Joe. I do genuinely think, he does care about Joe, and that is a driving force. So yeah, I just think Rona, someone get her like a Groupon voucher for like a spa break. Like, Yorkshire's lovely. There's so many places. There's so many day trips. They've got lovely architecture. There's cathedrals, York Minster or Whitby. Like, she's got a lot of places she could go. Just don't run off with Graham because it's a really bad idea.
I think after everything Rona and Marlon have been through, I know it's been proper tragedy central for them, but after everything they've overcome in the last few years, his stroke, the battle for Ivy, everything that's happened with April, for her to even consider leaving Marlon for Graham, I'm like, well, you must be drunk. And then Graham, like, just honestly, Johnny, put yourself in the shoes. Like, say for example, you faked your own death, like you held your breath and you've got secret SAS skills, and then
I'm doing it now.
Okay, all right, okay. Try not to die. But say you did that, and then you had the nerve to like turn up to the person that you were about to go on the run with and say like, oh, should we just pick up where we left off? What part of your brain would go, She might say yes to that.
The part of my brain that actually went a bit funny when I was holding my breath for 6 years, because it's not, the oxygen's not got there, so no decision making is, to be trusted. Who knows what goes on in Graham's mind anyway, even when he's not holding his breath or living in a cave or whatever, whatever he's doing. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But he's deluded.
Also,
Man is deluded. He has such confidence about himself, but it is crazy. But I do think it's because he held his breath and his brain's not, quite making the right choices.
yeah, and I think if I was in Rona's shoes and the man that I was about to run away with all those years ago then came back from the death after holding his breath and lying about it for so many years, I think I'd just be like, do one. Like, I've not got the bandwidth for this.
No, and there's a lot anyway going on in her life. Does she want to I think if Rona's thinking pajama with Marlon, but this is a nice alternative. Graham's ex-SAS and he's works for whatever, some secret organization. He's not going to bring peace and stability and tranquility to your life. You'll be on the run. You'll be in a spin-off of Spooks, or in a Bond film, or in the Bond.
What's to say you won't do it again? Fake your death once, fake your death twice. What's the,
That's my old
you might have an addictive personality for this sort of thing. What if he does it again?
An addiction to faking your death, you could be addicted to biscuits.
Yeah, that. Where would she be? And she'd have lost this lovely life with Marlon. It's just not worth it, Rona. Just shut him down, put him in the bin.
Got that nice house, great commute. Literally, she can open a door in her kitchen and be in her office. Yeah, put him in the bin. Oh, I mean, Graham doesn't like to take no for an answer, and he is dangerous. What if Rona's thinking, well, I've got to pretend, if we're going to live in the same village, maybe I've got to keep him on side, because he might, SAS me. He might do something really terrible if you say no, because he's capable of all sorts.
I don't know what he's going to do. I mean, there's moments where you think he's working for Joe, and then other moments where you think he's trying to be nice to the likes of Cain, and it's very hard to know where to pitch Graham at the moment. But if him and Rona get together, what's going to happen? Is she going to move into Home Farm as well and be looking over the breakfast table at Kim Tate, or are they going to move out somewhere else?
I mean, Home Farm, I always love being in Home Farm, so I'm a bit obsessed with that feature splashback in the kitchen. I used to not but I'm getting quite attached to it now. I am a bit obsessed also, and if Rona moved in, because Rona's quite practical and Rona kind of calls stuff out, doesn't she? Why is there a dining table in the hallway when it's a mansion with 98 bedrooms?
That's true.
Tell me that. Is there a dining room?
I don't think it's meant to. Well, I'm sure they had Christmas dinner in there once, so I think it is meant to be dining
door in Yorkshire. I'd rather go to Wishamel Cottage, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you were Kim, you'd move the table into the living room and have a big long table in there. You would, but no, that.
I demand a new dining room set, frankly. It just winds me up that there's a dining room in the hallway. And there's so many people in there. It's really awkward that they have to get round it. They're having these big discussions and these big showdowns. There's this massive table in the way all the time.
I suppose it's because she has people coming to meet her for business, doesn't she? So she almost needs the table there to have the documents to sort of,
have the papers, that sort of
thing. Come to the house to sign the papers, but you don't make it as far as the hallway.
Just the hallway, that's all you're seeing of the 98 bedroom mansion.
Well, I'm glad we've got that off our chest, because I didn't realise we were going to go down that road, but we have, and it's
use. That's what I've got. Use.
An important issue. Now, also going on in Emmerdale, it's a big week for Cain. He finally confesses the truth of his cancer diagnosis and exactly how severe it is to Moira, who is in prison. That's obviously going to be quite a sad week for her. Can you imagine kind of someone in prison feeling absolutely helpless? But also we've spoken to Natalie J. Robb, who always comes down on the side of, Moira will come back fighting and she is a survivor. And I think Cain is as well. So while it is a very sort of serious topic they're dealing with, I've got all my fingers crossed that they're both going to emerge from this as being okay.
Yeah, and come out stronger as they always do. It's always the journey, isn't it? Cain and Moira always tested. I don't think they've been tested like this ever, really, if you think about it. It's also the relief, he's kept the cancer to himself because Cain is such a stubborn old mule and very proud. But yeah, this is the relief that I think we're all going to be shouting at the telly for Cain to speak up, because there is help. I know he's a tough guy, doesn't want to admit he needs help, but there is help out there, and that will come, and the Dingles are all going to pull together for Cain. And I think that's going to be really emotional. But I'm pleased that he is finally sort of talking about what he's going through. But yeah, I mean, Cain and Moira, gosh, talk about put through the ringer.
They do love to stick one of them in prison while the other one is dealing with a major health crisis, because I'm pretty sure it was the other way around when Moira was dealing with the brain tumor and Cain was in prison, or maybe for now, or when
Probably.
Carla.
Something to do with a gun, probably. You know how you have a rotor on your kitchen, on the fridge, or something like who takes the bins out, or social engagements, or whose turn is it to do whatever. Whose turn is it to be in prison, and whose turn is it to have a health crisis? I feel like that's a part of Cain and Moira's marital spreadsheet.
Yeah, absolutely. Fingers crossed that, I mean, hopefully Moira's don't want us to be in there for that much longer, and actually go down Celia and Ray's crime.
Free the hot and one. Come on, let's get her out. Now the campaign begins.
Well, we're going to move on to EastEnders because some interesting scenes coming up this week between Mark and Lauren, who we have kind of, I mean, I don't know about you, Johnny, but when I first watched the EastEnders flash forward, immediately I was like, well, surely Mark's the other one on the end of the phone to Lauren, and I jumped to the conclusion that they're having an affair. But we were saying, weren't we, that it's almost a bit, EastEnders keep dropping these little obvious things into the storylines very soon. So like Penny's pregnancy, who the bride could be. So Max and Linda are obviously getting together, and then Lauren and Mark, which feels like an obvious thing. But is it all like red herrings being planted?
The herrings are as red as Bradley Branning's hair and as Max Branning's hair once was. I think it's too soon. It's not even Easter. Like, they're not going to spell stuff out this early, are they? And also with Mark in the flash forward, we didn't know who Mark was because he wasn't Joe Tate, and there was a bit of mystery for a few weeks as to who that character was that was hanging around all the Beales and the Brannings. But there was a vibe between him and Lauren, whoever this guy was. And now Mark is settling into the square, and coming up, there is some Lauren and Mark frisson if you keep your eyes on it. I kind of feel, there is more to come here with all the flash forward clues. Mark's a part of it, but I don't know. Is it that he is having some affair with Lauren, or is it all to do with the Mark Ravi police informant stuff? Because also in the flash forward, as well as, Lauren maybe cheating on Peter, there was a lot of police stuff. There was a lot of line of duty stuff going on. There was potential police corruption. There was inside men. There was informants. There was people working with or against people. I don't know. It's just such a lot. So I think keep your eye on Mark, definitely. But I don't think it's that simple yet.
I think it does tally, though, that him and Lauren would potentially have an affair, because he is the same kind of guy. Do you remember when she got together with cousin Joey? And then
Joey vibes.
Joey vibes, and also when her and Zach had a bit of a thing, they're very similar types of guy. And but I've always believed in Lauren and Peter because they're childhood sweethearts, and that has kind of, we've often described them as potentially the new Pauline and Arthur. So but I can see why she might stray to this other type of guy that she's always gone to in the past. So
it's kind of like what you shouldn't go for is a cousin Joey, because he's a cousin. And Mark, a bit more of a bad boy, a bit of a rougher edge than Peter, who's a bit of a goody, isn't he? So yes, it's an itch maybe Lauren still has to scratch, but it does make sense that there might be something there.
Yeah, absolutely. And this kind of like brings us on to just how fabulous the Brannings have been in general at the moment. I think they are they feel like the first family of EastEnders at the moment, because there's so many of them and it's a beautiful blended family. I was just absolutely loving that episode where they found out that Penny was pregnant and they were all sat round, because you rarely see big groups all sat round a dinner table anymore unless it's Christmas. And even those scenes are really fleeting because they just want to get the dinner out the way so they can get you to the big drama of whoever's being killed or yes, hit with a spade or something like that. So I feel like that this was a really welcome, and it because it went out on a Monday night, but it felt like a Sunday. Like they should do regular Sunday roasts in all the soaps. Like everyone should have like the regular family Sunday roast that then just brings out all the nonsense, which was so funny, because can you imagine being sat round your family dinner table being forced to take a live pregnancy test?
only in Albert Square could this happen. I mean, come on. But yeah, I totally agree. I love all the family scenes, the big noisy family scenes with the Brannings. And as you say, there's the Truemans, the Foxes, the Slaters, like all the families and the Mitchells. They all seem to converge in the Brannings. It's like the Venn diagram. The Brannings are like what what the Mitchells and what the Beales and the Fowlers have been in the past. They're really at the center of it all. It all kind of links back to them, and it's great. Like there's been some great stuff with all of them in it this week. They're kind of the dysfunctional family that you kind of want to be a part of, to be quite fun, but you really don't want to be a part of because they might make you do something like take a live pregnancy test while Sunday lunch is being served. So yeah, really really good fun. But Penny's pregnancy as well, that brought some really lovely emotional stuff out with her and Jack, her and Lauren. There's lots of characters we know really well in the Brannings, but lots of newer characters that we're getting to know, like Penny, like Oscar. Like there's lots of love Oscar. Drunk hungover it's a spin-off, I think.
Oscar is I shouldn't have favorites, but he is my favorite. He's so funny. I love that performance. And if you meet Pierre in real life who plays him, like he's just the nicest, like sort of
he's
gentlest,
really unstable, isn't he? Really gentle, he's quite reserved, and this Oscarness just comes out. It's like an explosion on screen, but he's such a star. He is really entertaining to watch, but heartbreaking as well. Like he's had a lot of emotional stuff to do quite early on. And you just believe it all, don't you? But yeah, the funny Oscar is, something we all look forward to seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really, really enjoying that. And like you said as well, the storyline of Penny being pregnant, I just think is such a great plot to visit and, and explore. Who would have a clue as to how that would work out for her in the real life and what challenges she might face. So I'm really pleased that EastEnders are exploring that. Kitty Castledine was just fabulous because she's been great for some of the more comedy plots and the sarky one-liners and things like that, but to actually sit there and do the raw emotion, particularly with Jacqueline Jossa on the bench, I thought was really strong scene. And I thought it really brought out the best in Scott Maslin as well, because his comedy at the start of it all, just trying to work out who's this test belonged to and then do all the emotion, I thought was such a great gear change for him. Yes, I really enjoyed EastEnders actually, particularly last week as well when you saw Kathy and Ian doing the heist. They should have a spin-off of like it's Beale and Son robbing houses. I thought they were really good.
How not to do a heist, like a kind of there should have been a laugh track on there, like an old 80s sitcom. It was, it was a bit woeful how bad they were at it, and Kathy being the getaway driver and putting the windscreen wipers on by mistake.
I know.
Yeah,
I really love that.
It's great. Getting back to part of the families in the square. I think this is what we're kind of coming to, isn't it? Those family dynamics. We're really going back to that with Enders at the minute, which feels really right and really natural. I feel like if we've missed that maybe a bit, recently. But yes, Sunday lunch with the Brannings and a bungled heist with the Beales. That's how we want to spend us.
Yeah, I wasn't a massive fan of the Callum and Johnny stuff, I'll have to admit. But the bringing Kathy and Ian into it just at the start, I really, really enjoyed. So we'll have to wait and see if there's more of that coming. And yes, in the meantime, you will be listening to this the day before the Gemma Bissix returns to the square as Claire Bates. And we have, as I mentioned at the start, a lovely interview with her where we talk about EastEnders, Hollyoaks, and just Gemma in general. She was she opened up a lot about being a mum in real life, and also kind of personal experience with friends of friends who have had dementia. So it was really interesting chat, and that's going out tomorrow night after EastEnders on our YouTube channel, which is where we are now. So thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you again next week.